back, and we have in studio Mike Levine of Triumph, producer Mike Clink. I am in Toronto with those guys, and as we talked about just a few minutes ago, Gil Moore and Rick Emmett are in Edmonton, sort of a last-minute change of plans here as the guys have the opportunity to play. We talked earlier about what they're doing there with Mike Levine and about what's going on with the song Lay It on the Line and the NHL playoffs, which resume in Edmonton tonight. And we're going to go to the phones now and welcome those guys via the phone. And I believe we're starting with Gil Moore. Gil, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Eddie, how you doing?
Gil, good to talk to you. I wish we were seeing each other in person, but I totally understand. The NHL comes calling, and that's a great opportunity. How's it going there so far?
Oh, it's just, it's wild out here. I mean, the enthusiasm is incredible. And of course the song's been blowing up everywhere. Our phones are exploding like pinball machines. It's just been, it's been a wild ride out here. And we're just going to get on stage very soon.
Mike Levine was just telling me because of what's going on with the song, he just learned what Shazam is. Right,
yeah,
Mike?
That's true,
Mike's learning about all those analytics.
Yeah, and a few people say, you've heard the commercial a lot, haven't you? And I said, yeah, but I also played that song for decades, So I get it. Repetition, I love it.
We have Mike Clink here as well. Mike, want to say hello to Gil.
Hey, Gil. Miss you, but
hey, Mike.
Happy that you're out there.
Great to hear your voice, brother.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So how does it fit? So you did a rehearsal, you did a run through for this. How did it feel? I know you've got kind of like an expanded Triumph band there with Mike Levine here. He's worried about his gig with Kearns there, he was saying already, but tell me how it feels. I know you're playing soon, right? How did it feel to run through everything?
Oh, it was great, and Todd Kearns is here playing bass. Mike doesn't need to worry about losing his gig. I mean, they'll kick me out of the band long before they'll kick him out. So, and we got Brent Fitz on drums. So, like if I take a tumble off the bike, I'll do a barrel roll and he'll scrape me up. We're in good shape. Phil X on guitar with Rick. Where are you going to get two better guitar players? So what could go wrong?
Yeah, no, it sounds great, and I'm excited to see it, and I'm glad you guys are doing it, and for all the Triumph fans, there's a lot of excitement just knowing you're playing at least a few songs live. Where it goes from here, I mean, Mike Levine was just telling us a little bit about this project you guys are working on, and I don't know if you want to fill anything in, Gil, about this thing coming down the pike here that you're working on. The virtual thing, or I don't know what the right word would be to use, hologram, I'm not sure what, but anything you want to add about that? Because I know it's, Mike Levine talked about it a little bit, but what can you tell us about that for the fans?
Yeah, Eddie, you know what? There is no right word for it, and I'll tell you why, because it doesn't exist. This is something Paul Dexter and I've been working on for nearly 5 years, and it's a way to sort of bring, the old and the new together in a sort of an organic, yet virtual, immersive experience. So we call it mixed reality, MXR vision, and the idea would be, we'll have, a live band on stage, but we'll have, Mike, Rick, and Gil will be there virtually, or maybe some of us will be there in person or whatever. And it's just like a salad bowl. We're just going to mix it up, see where it goes, but it's not, a lot of people have asked me about the ABBA show. It is not what that is all about or what KISS is going to do. Along the same lines as ABBA. This is something that'll have a narrative and hopefully an experience that'll be unique and the first of its kind.
Well, I'm excited about that as well. Let's talk about the record from your perspective, the tribute to Triumph MaSSa Power, which is out today. Mike Clink was just telling us before you joined how much time went into this and the process of, the idea of it, and then how it went from you picking him up in a snowstorm to leading to this. Here we are talking about it. When you listen to these performances, Gil, of these songs, what are your thoughts? I mean, what jumps out to you?
Well, it starts, and not to buff his apple too much, but it starts with the great Mike Clink, and I mean that sincerely. You put him behind the big board, and you've got a lot of things licked, and I think a lot of the performers, they would feel the same way we have confidence in Mike. a lot of these great performers. By the way, we should be doing a tribute album to them. So many of them we're fans of. He just did a magnificent job. And, he went through just absolute hell and damnation to get this done in the middle of COVID. I mean, if I was him, I would have taken 2 weeks off and then quit. But he persevered all the way to the end of this thing and brought it home. And, we love it. The performers that we've talked to and the radio folks and press we've talked to, it's getting a great reception. So big credit goes to Mike Clink on this.
Is there anything, Gil, from a drumming standpoint that you listened to and you were like, wow, like I'll tell you one that jumped out at me. And I mean, almost everybody on this record I know, and many of them are friends, but Tommy, the great Tommy Aldridge, totally Tommy Aldridged up Spellbound. When I heard him playing, I was like, that's Tommy, all right. I didn't have to look at the credit on that. Was there anything on here, having recorded all the drums to the original versions of these songs that kind of jumped out at you?
Well, Tommy, for one, absolutely. And I mean, I've been a fan of his drumming for many, many years. Brent Fitz, awesome tracks that he laid down. Kenny Aronoff, doesn't get any better than Kenny Aronoff. And even guys that get more credit, for their singing. You got Joey Belladonna's a great drummer. These are drummers hanging around this thing. Some of them were just doing vocals. Dean Castronovo, there's a vocal that was from amazing. And yet I know he's a very good drummer too. It was nothing but great players on this. Not only on the kits, but of course, right across all the instruments. It's outstanding, really. And Mike was able to select the players. I think that, we're kind of dialed into the tracks, which is a producer's hat decision. We've got a real selection on there that, is really, it's outstanding in my mind anyhow.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, is there, Mike Clink, were there people you went after for this that you couldn't get for one reason or another that you really wanted on a certain track? You don't need to name names if you don't want to, but were there some ideas that you couldn't bring home?
Yeah, we reached out, or I reached out to, several different people, especially on the singing side, not necessarily on, a couple of the guitar players, had different commitments. I mean, because what happened is that after COVID, everybody was getting back to touring. So it became difficult to get some of these players because they go, hey, I would have done it earlier, but now we're headed on the road. I haven't worked in a couple of years and the touring was starting up. But the singers, that was the difficulty. And I did speak to you a couple times about the singers because Rick, as a singer, was sang in a voice that not many people, even to this day, can sing. And it was a challenge. And the same thing with Gil. There's a couple songs that Gil sang that were challenges. So the singers were difficult. So I did put a reach out to several different singers that I thought would be perfect for it. And they felt intimidated. And they said, Mike, I just don't really want to fail at this. And they respectfully declined. I've been texting a couple of them today and played them the tracks that I had them in mind for. And they were like, thanks for asking me, but the performances that you actually got from the people that sang on the record are fantastic.
Yeah. Gil, I know you got to move on, and we'll get Rick in here next, and then we'll get into this album more here with the two mics in the studio. But look, truly, all the performances on here are really great. I'm going to talk a lot more about this record with the guys, but can you give me one, Gil, for you personally that jumped out that was like, not necessarily the best, but just kind of like really surprised you, or you were like, wow, that I just would have never thought of that?
Well, I maybe default to Envy of None there. I mean, that was such a surprise. And, all of them, Alex Lifeson and Andy, are buddies of ours, Al Feel, of course, and David Steinberg, who played drums, who's a brother of ours. We don't know Maya. We haven't met her before. And so I didn't know what to expect. So I'd never heard her sing before. But what an outstanding version of Blinding Light Show that they did. I mean, I think that was probably the shocker on the set. Maybe the other one I would say was the beautiful vocal that Nancy from Heart,
Yep.
Nancy Wilson's vocal. I mean, she took a Rick Emmett kind of like high ripper and turned it into like this kind of floaty, melodic, it was like kind of the cadence of the sea. Just beautiful the way she weaves in and around the lyric and turned it into her own signature. It was beautiful. Those were two shockers for me. They were just so different than the originals.
Many people have pointed out Nancy Wilson singing Fight the Good Fight and doing a radically different version of it, and that it was the most heart-like thing that she could do with a Triumph song, and it was in a great way. And it's funny you mention Envy of None. For those that don't know, that's a new band that Alex Lifeson is in. Alex and Andy were both on this show promoting the most recent record maybe a month ago, and we talked about it a little bit, and they said they wanted to do something different with Blinding Lights Show, and they sure did. I mean, it was really cool where they took that song completely different. You would think, Blinding Lights Show, kind of a proggy Triumph song anyway. You'd think, oh, here comes Alex Lifeson, he's going to turn it into a prog fest, and they went a totally different way with it. It's so cool.
Yeah, Alex's guitars, like, they're so distinctive, and you get a great guitar player like Rick, and it's hard to take on a song that he's played guitar on. How do you make it better? Well, they took it in a new direction because it's totally Alex's style, So it's just so cool. Like Rick and Alex have played together before. They're buddies. I'm golf buddies with Alex, so it was a thrill to have him on the record, really, and feel the community that we have, being a Toronto boys that we are.
It still blows my mind you guys never toured together after all these decades. It's crazy. It's not too late, I mean, I know Alex was telling me that him and Getty jam here every week and play some Rush songs, and you guys are going to play, 2/3 of you guys are playing tonight. You never know that Rush Triumph tour, some version of it could be in the offing. If Shazam keeps rolling, Mike Levine's ready to go. He's sitting
so
there
we'll have to
laughing.
find a promoter. We'll have to find a promoter that's one power trio short of a load.
You have no problem finding a promoter for that tour. I guarantee you that. Gil, I'll let you move on and hand over to Rick, and we'll talk to him for a few, and then I'm going to get more into the record with the two mics here in the studio. But best of luck with the performance, and I look forward to seeing it and hearing it.
Thanks, brother. Eddie, thank you so much for having us on. I really love it.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we'll see you in person next time. Hopefully there will be no NHL that'll take you away from us next time. We'll do it again. All right. Thanks, Gil.
You betcha.
All right.